their superpower is saving people and healing people, and my superpower is food.
So hello everyone, and thank you for joining us on another edition of Color Solutions new series. Today we have with us a very special guest. Mr. Derrick Turton is in the building. Thank you for joining us.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. It's been a little minute.
I know, right? It really has. Yeah. Now, for some of you that are not familiar with his story, Derrick was featured in season 4 of Colorful Illusions. He is the founder of the world famous House of Mac located in Miami, Florida. Now, picking up from when we left off back in early 2019, House of Mac was just located in Wynwood. And now fast forward to 2020, you guys have opened 2 new locations, one in North Miami Beach and the other at Brightline. So first and foremost, congratulations on that endeavor.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Of course. So how has that experience been so far?
It's been good. It's been a learning experience. My Brightline location right now is the only one that's closed because it's like a food hall situation. So depending on how long it takes them to reopen back up, we might have to reevaluate some things over there. But the Wynwood, the Overtown location, and the North Miami Beach location, which is on 135th and Biscayne, those are performing really well.
Okay.
And thank God, like throughout the whole COVID-19 thing, we were considered essential. So we technically never closed. We had to shift up the way we did a few things, but we never actually had to shut down. So that was a blessing.
Okay, yeah, because that was going to be my next questions to ask, like if you guys were impacted by COVID at all. So you guys were still operating throughout the whole thing.
Yeah, we operated throughout the whole thing. I mean, the market is a little crazy right now. Thank God, like we had already adapted to a lot of online platforms, Uber Eats, Postmates, stuff like that. But even with that, we had to adjust because like the percentage that they take is so high. And before, we did so much walk-up traffic. Now, like 75% of our sales are coming through the online portals, but they're taking such a large percentage, and my profit margin is only like 25%, right? So like we have to like adjust some things there and move some things around. But I mean, I think we're savvy enough to kind of keep up with it, and thank God, like, I didn't have to lay anybody off. I didn't have to fire anybody. I didn't have to cut anybody's salaries. And, things are kind of, picking back up a little bit now. So thank God, man, we was able to kind of, maneuver through that a little bit.
Right. That's awesome. I'm glad to hear that. Definitely.
Thanks so much.
Yeah. So did you guys have to apply for any of the federal assistance that was being offered?
I mean, not necessarily we needed to, but, we got approved for the PPP. That was just like a payroll protection thing. Okay. And that's part of the reason why I didn't have to lay anybody off. I didn't have to cut anybody. I could have probably still made payroll, but it just would have, been more of a like personal sacrifice and stuff like that. But I mean, we did get a PPP loan. Okay. And as long as you use that for payroll, it's like a forgivable loan and stuff like that. So
having that you were operating during COVID-19, and I assume that you were coming into the shop, were you ever afraid of catching the virus, or what procedures or measures did you have in place for your own safety?
I mean, it's a little confusing, right? Because I feel like they were like figuring things out as they go along. So even all of the measures that they were telling you to take, like, was that even really the proper measures that you were supposed to take? My personal thoughts on it is I think like it circulated in the market a little bit before they announced that it happened. Because I remember like back in like January, like my wife was coughing crazy, my son was coughing crazy, couldn't explain what, it was a lot of people. It was like this whole big flu that was going around. From a fair standpoint, I always say like I walk in faith, but I'm living in my purpose. So, I mean, during the whole thing, we were actually in the beginning, especially in the beginning, we were actually pulling up on a lot of first responders on the front lines actually, and feeding, we were feeding hospital workers, firefighters, police officers, correction officers. We were just pulling up and just being active. And they needed it, and they needed the encouragement, and they needed whatever. So, I never looked at it like, well, I don't know if I'm gonna do this because, you know, maybe this. I just did it because it just felt like the right thing for me to do. So, I mean, you know, that's pretty much how I walk through life. You know what I mean? I just try to just walk, you know, in my purpose, and, you know, whatever comes with that, just come with it, you know?
Yeah, definitely. I definitely agree with the whole walking in faith thing, because you can't live a fear-filled life at all. So I support that. And of course, you touched on it already, and I wanted you to talk a little bit more about it, is because I saw through your Instagram feed that you were supplying meals for those first responders. So I wanted to know why you thought that was so important to be able to serve the community that way.
Well, my wife is a retired North Lauderdale firefighter. So I'm aware of like some of the personal sacrifices and that come along with you know, first responders, right? And so you know, we kind of jumped in on that early because I just felt like, you know, all heroes don't wear capes, and like they're literally, you know, my sister's my sister's a nurse, my mother's a retired nurse, like all my cousins, my family. So, you know, I just felt like you know, their superpower is saving people and healing people, and my superpower is food. And if we could do anything to try to like uplift people's spirits and, you know, get them through, you know, I peeped like the first time we pulled up with some food, like how it uplifted their spirits and how happy it made it. So it was like, all right, cool, so I'm in. And then we just started doing that, pulling up the different people, and it was just, you know, that's just, you know, our way of just trying to pay it forward and doing our part.
I love it. I love it. I think that's a great initiative as well. About how many people do you think that you were able to serve through that?
I don't really know. You know why? Because like we weren't really keeping score. I got like this whole pet peeve with like helping people and then sharing it, right? So like when I was like sharing the stuff we were doing with the first responders, it was really like with kind words and just really like encouragement. But then a lot of people started kicking in and like, you know, had like NFL players and like different people started hitting me like, yo, you know, we you know, you need help. I want to get in on this. We were going. So people would just like start sending bread, and we like I would just try to hit as many places that we could hit in a day. But it was never like, you know, I don't even have a list of all the places we went. It was just, and like sometimes like we might have went to Jackson, but then the emergency room didn't get it. So somebody from the emergency room was like, hey, you just came in, we didn't get in, and we just pull back up and just take them for food too. You know what I mean? So, you know, it wasn't like a thing where we were like keeping score. I don't really know how many people we fed, but I mean, I know we touched a lot of people, and I know the gesture touched a lot of people and a lot of families, and a lot of people appreciate it. So
yeah, and I'm sure that came in handy after working them long hours, and I'm sure they were
hungry. I mean, you know, food is just like one of those things. We sell comfort food. So, you know, especially when it's like unexpected, and then like we just pull up with this food, and it's just like, okay, you know, okay, cool. This was a highlight of the day, because like all you've been seeing is madness all day, and then it also just lets you know, man, like, you know, you thought of, like, you know what I'm saying? Like sometimes, you know, you go through things like that and you think like you're all alone, and, you know, it was just like more of a gesture, like, no, listen, we ride with you. Another amazing thing that happened like during this, Commissioner Keon Hardemon, he actually did this, he did like these Keon bucks, and he got like a bunch of money from the city, and he gave out vouchers to people in the community. And so we created like a full meal menu that people could come and use the vouchers for. Yeah, we fed, I don't know, a couple thousand people already with these vouchers. So, you know, I just want to say salute Keon Hardemon, because, you know, just it's these things, and like, you know, it's like people get out there and they get on the front line, and they find a way to you know, when the people need it, they find a way to connect with the people, and you gotta salute them kind of people that do that kind of stuff, because and we're proud to be a part of that, because we definitely fed a lot of people with these vouchers. So it's definitely translating back.
I agree. Amazing. Very amazing. I'm proud of you.
Hey, thank you.
Of course. So now that the state is opening back up slowly and you guys are already in operation, do you guys have new guidelines in place?
I mean, you know, there's still like certain precautions. Like we in Dade, it's funny because we're in Dade County, but we're considered city of Miami. So in Dade County, I think they let the restaurants open up to 50%. With us, it's 25%. Still, you know, people still got to wear the mask. I don't know how the whole mask thing is going to work with people eating, but I know we got to spread the tables apart 6 feet still. I think with it can only be parties of 4 unless it's family. Then it could be party of 6. I mean, there's a bunch of like little things that they're putting in place to try to, just test the waters out and just see if it works or whatever case may be. So but we already got most of the things in place. We actually we took the time that we were closed to do a lot of like improvements or renovations, just to make the best of the time, because I'm like, well, it'll probably be a minute before we had downtime like this. So we actually created a little bit of space that we can accommodate the tables being spread out, and we invested in the kitchen and made it bigger so that we can deliver a better experience overall. So we all for the measures because we don't want nobody to get sick, and I almost look at this whole situation as like a hard reset, because really was like a crazy, and there was a lot of things happening in my life. Personally, there's a lot of things happening in my life. I'm trying to like expand, I'm trying to grow, trying to like manage a lot of things. And, I could look at all of the negative stuff that happened out of this, but I could also see like positive stuff that came from me. Like I was able to clean house. I was able to cut a lot of fat with just things that I didn't need, things I was spending money on that I didn't even realize I was spending money on it until I had to like tighten my belt. It's like, okay, this can stay, this got to go, because this is what it is. In order for us to get through this and until we see some light at the end of the tunnel, I got to cut all the fat. So I cut a lot of fat out. I cut a lot of just things that I didn't need. And then when you look at it like that, it's like, do you have all this time that you think to put things off? Do you have all this time to say, instead of me going out and take care of this today, I'm gonna do it tomorrow? Because tomorrow might be a whole nother situation. Everybody thought their situation was crazy, and then Corona came, and it was like, whatever your situation was before this happened,
you thought, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's funny because right before the pandemic started, I got the word still tattooed on me just to like remind myself to be still and to be in the present moment. And then I'm like, dang God, like I wanted to be this still. Like we just
right. You did this. It was your fault.
my fault.
I blame you.
Oh man, well I'm glad to see that you took a positive turn and you were able to see things from a higher perspective, and you were able to come out even stronger. So what is the tips that you can give other small business owners that may be in a harder situation, that they're trying to find the light at the end of that tunnel right now?
I mean, you know what, man, I don't really have an answer. I mean, I think because that conversation is definitely not one size fit all. It's definitely everybody's situation is a different situation. Entrepreneurship as a whole is like a very lonely place because people don't understand like the personal sacrifices we have to make. You got to just find a way, and you got to be resilient. And the same way you wanted it when you wanted to start this, you got to put that same energy in the universe right now. And nobody's saying it's going to be easy, but the same resilience that you had to get where you are, you got to roll your sleeves back up. In some cases, you got to reinvent yourself because certain things is going to be new normals. Like certain things that was normal before, that was popping before, with all of these new restrictions and things like that, it might not be popping again. So you gotta be witty, you gotta be clever, you gotta find a way to, you know what I'm saying, keep up and reinvent yourself.
Thank you so much. It's always great catching up with you.
I want to tell you too, man, I've been watching your work, man. You have an incredible vision, and I want you to keep pushing. And you got my number. Anything you need from me on this end, I support you 300%, and I just want you to keep it pushing, all right?
Thank you so much. It means a lot. Yeah.